coming up on the April 7th edition of Carolina Week.
Same office, different face. Matt Calabria begins his time as student body president at UNC Chapel Hill.
North Carolina faces an economic loss with the buyout of 2 major companies. How will this affect the state's future?
The ads tell you what's wrong with the other guy. Is that approach effective with college students?
These stories plus your weekend forecast and Carolina sports.
Carolina Week starts now.
From the School of Journalism and Mass Communication at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, this is Carolina Week.
Good evening, I'm Courtney Robinson.
And I'm Dana Hackett. Jenny McClendon and Catherine Chang are both off. Our top story, the Carrboro Board of Aldermen has added the town's voice to the national debate about same-sex marriages. Tuesday night, the board approved a request to the state legislature asking it to repeal the Defense of Marriage Act. That law prevents the state from giving benefits to same-sex couples married legally elsewhere. Mayor Mike Nelson says the request probably won't have much effect, but is worthwhile anyway.
So I think we all understand that the General Assembly isn't really going to be supportive of this request, but it is important to raise the issue, educate people about the issue, and be part of the discussion.
This is a short session of the General Assembly, so it's unlikely the issue will be picked up this year.
The Gay, Lesbian, Bisexual, Transgender, Straight Alliance and LGBTQ are sponsoring Celebration Week on campus. Events earlier this week included speakers, pit sits, and a same-sex workshop. Events still to come include a social hour and a discussion about faith, spirituality, and sexuality. Students say Celebration Week is an important educational tool that promotes safety and inclusion for students within the gay and lesbian community.
And we're trying to get equality in all aspects of social interaction, all aspects of treatment in the classroom, and this is just general treatment under the law.
Events for Celebration Week continue through Thursday. You can find information on our website, carolinaweek.org.
Carolina officially has a new student body president. Matt Calabria was inaugurated Tuesday night. In front of students, friends, and family, Calabria committed himself to the university and to the students. Calabria defeated 8 other candidates to earn the post in one of the university's most controversial elections. Allegations of campaign irregularities led elections officials to call for a runoff redo between Calabria and Lily West. West won the first runoff, but Calabria captured the redo and the office. Now that the controversy has died down, Calabria says he's concentrating on the upcoming year and working hard for the student body. Carolina Week's Joe Mott takes a look at Calabria's goals as SBP.
From a long campaign season to a narrow victory to Tuesday's inauguration, Matt Calabria has had quite a journey. But the journey has only just begun. Calabria will move into his new office Thursday and begin work on his new platform, which his chief of staff says is full of lofty goals.
Calabria and his cabinet are not just accountable to his goals, but to the weight of all the ideas given for improving students, UNC, and North Carolina.
With these ideas in mind, Calabria says his first action will be overhauling the structure of Student Congress.
Working with Student Congress to make sure that we constitutionally mandate certain student government positions. It's an internal reform, and it really has sort of far-reaching implications.
Also, deadlines are creeping up. Student government meets with the North Carolina General Assembly in May, and Calabria is working to prepare his administration.
We need to make sure that our officers are out there in strength, that we're fully prepared for the issues at hand, and also that student government is educated about the administration's position and the administration's needs.
Former SBP Matt Tepper certainly knows an administration's needs, and he has some advice for the new president.
He knows the lay of the land, he knows kind of how everything runs, so I don't want to step in there and give him advice, but I think that, he just has to stay dedicated to work, throughout the year.
A year for Calabria that begins almost immediately. In Chapel Hill, I'm Joe Mott, Carolina Week.
Calabria plans to tackle issues such as hardship parking and tuition increases.
UNC men's basketball recruit James On Curry might not be playing in a Carolina blue jersey next basketball season. Carolina Week's Luke Notstein joins us now in the studio. Luke?
Courtney Curry faces 36 months of probation and 200 hours of community service for selling marijuana to an undercover officer. He pleaded guilty on Monday. Curry is the leading scorer in North Carolina high school basketball history. Curry was arrested back in February at Eastern Alamance High School as part of an undercover sting operation. The first 6 months of Curry's probation will be intensive, meaning Curry will have to abide by strict curfews and be subject to warrantless searches and regular drug testing. Any student applying to Carolina must inform the university if he or she is convicted of or pleads guilty to a felony. UNC officials then decide whether to admit that student. This is a different case because Curry would be admitted as a student athlete. Current university policy says student athletes who have been convicted of or have pled guilty to a felony will be dismissed from the team. However, there's no policy that specifically covers prospective student athletes. Courtney?
Thanks, Luke. There's no word regarding when the university will make a decision about Curry.
As some students get ready to leave Carolina, others are deciding if they want to enter. Admissions officials sent the last batch of acceptance letters to high school seniors last week. The average SAT score of next fall's admitted freshman class is 1323, up 7 points from last year. The university received a record 19,017 applications. 33% of those applicants were invited to the university. That's a little more than 6,200 incoming freshmen. High school seniors who were accepted have until May 1st to commit to the university.
2 North Carolina companies will see new name fronts on their buildings soon. Charlotte-based Bank of America merged with Fleet Boston Financial in a $48 billion deal. Bank of America will cut more than 12,000 jobs, most in areas where the companies overlap. JCPenney sold Eckerd's drugstore to CVS and Jean Coutu, a Canadian drugstore operator. Jean Coutu will own all North Carolina Eckerd stores. No word yet about any job cuts as a result of that buyout.
For presidential hopefuls George W. Bush and John Kerry, the race is on. Political ads for both candidates have hit the airwaves. Carolina Week's Amanda Eiler tells us what students think about the negative tone of many of the ads.
I'm John Kerry. I'm George W. Bush, and I approve this message.
Sound familiar? If it doesn't yet, it will soon. Although Election Day is months away,
John Kerry's record on the economy? Troubling.
Negative advertising has already started.
I think definitely people, and I personally, get very fed up with seeing the ads and them always attacking one another.
The ads are meant to sway voters.
Well, you just watch. When I'm president, I'm going to spend as much money as I want.
Do they do the trick? Not for Carolina freshman Mike London.
I like to base my beliefs on my own personal views. So a negative ad's not going to change my mind about anything.
For college students, negative ads could do more harm than good. Political science professor George Rabinowitz.
So for them, it would have this cross pressure that basically a lot of interest in the election will stir them up and the negativity will turn them off.
But a lot of negativity might not matter.
I never pay attention to the ads, really.
One thing's certain, if Bush and Kerry remain close in the polls, you can expect to see more ads. In Chapel Hill, I'm Amanda Eiler, Carolina Week.
The 2 candidates aren't advertising in North Carolina yet. You can catch the ads on cable news networks.
A nail and a hammer can fix a broken hinge.
And pliers can tighten a loose screw.
But how do you repair a liver or a heart? Researchers are learning that repairing tissue starts in your own body.
I think you should wear a tie. Dad, nobody wears ties to school.
Tie says you're serious. It'll make a good impression. And remember, you're there to study,
to learn, and to make something of myself. I got it.
Almost half of all UNCF students are the first in their family to go to college.
They have some great architecture classes.
Dad, I'm not really interested in architecture.
Well, keep your options open. And remember, no girls until your
my work is done.
And I'd make sure that I got my lunch.
Dad, you're not going. I am.
I know.
Well, listen, we better get going. Don't want to be late the first day, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And when you're the first to go, you're going for a lot of people. The United Negro College Fund. A mind is a terrible thing to waste.
Chapel Hill police are asking students to remain cautious even though they might have solved a recent case. Police arrested U.S. Army employee Jeremy Griffin of Fayetteville on one account of second-degree sexual offense on Saturday. Griffin is charged with sexually assaulting a Granville Towers resident early Saturday morning.
Students at UNC Chapel Hill often get exposure to the best in the arts. Tuesday evening, Peter Davis of Villain Films in Vancouver came to UNC to present the classic film Come Back Africa. Students filled the screening room in the undergrad to view the film that was shot illegally in 1959. Come Back to Africa dramatizes the exploitation of black workers in the urban areas of South Africa. It was the first African-made movie to deal with this theme and with apartheid in general.
A recent state investigation of the psychiatric unit at UNC hospitals is prompting a federal investigation. The Federal Centers for Medicaid and Medicare Services will investigate the psychiatric unit and 4 other units at UNC hospitals. This comes in response to a state investigation of the psychiatric ward that found UNC hospital police officers used handcuffs to restrain violent patients. CMS will now look into the hospital's eligibility to receive Medicare and Medicaid payments. Hospital officials say they've taken steps to use alternative ways to restrain patients and are continuing to correct other problems.
Cloning remains a controversial topic. In February, Korean scientists announced they had cloned a human embryo. Medical reporter Jeremy Ashton explains there's more to cloning than making genetic copies of sheep, cats, or even humans.
UNC researchers in Lola Reed's lab are trying to create liver tissue from stem cells. Besides liver tissue, heart tissue like this can be grown from stem cells.
What we're now realizing is that the stem cells are the ones that are designed to repair the damaged tissue. And so if we learn how to isolate those stem cells, we are able to give them back and they are able to repair the tissue in short order.
Reed's team works with a group of stem cells known as adult stem cells, which, like these Legos, can develop only into a limited number of cell types. In contrast, stem cells from embryos could be more useful because, like Play-Doh, they can be molded into any type of cell. Researchers are working on ways to retrieve these cells through a process called therapeutic cloning.
In therapeutic cloning, scientists transplant the genetic material from a patient's body cell into a human egg. The cell then divides to form a small ball of cells called a blastocyst. In theory, scientists could take these embryonic stem cells and direct them to create new tissue. But scientists like those on Reed's team are a long way from finding proven clinical uses for embryonic stem cells.
So they're going to really be experimental tools for the next at least couple of decades.
Despite the potential treatment uses for therapeutic cloning, pro-life groups like Carolina Students for Life raise ethical concerns. President Stephanie Evans says the group opposes the procedure.
We believe that life begins at conception, and the use of embryonic stem cells in research compromises a human life.
Reed argues research into all types of stem cell uses should continue to receive public funding. She says the potential benefits of the research are too important to ignore. In Chapel Hill, I'm Jeremy Ashton, Carolina Week.
Reed predicts doctors might soon use adult stem cells with organ transplants. She says stem cells might even make transplants obsolete someday.
Seniors, you might be ready to throw in your cap into the Carolina blue sky, but you won't be able to until you jump into the Carolina blue water. Make sure you don't forget to take your swim test. The last test is this Friday, April 16th, and there are no makeups. You'll need to go down to Curry Natatorium by the Dean Dome.
Carolina Week weather anchor Scott Williams joins us now.
Now, Scott, it is absolutely beautiful outside. This is what we've been asking you for weeks.
Yeah, I know, but you always know that anytime we receive weather that we like, we're going to have to make a trade-off for it sometime, and we're going to have to do that in our forecast. I'll have more details, but we want to focus on our weather question now, which is, let's go ahead and take a look at that weather question. What is the path of destruction caused by a hailstorm called? Is it A, hail streak, B, dawn of the dead, C, tobacco buster, or D, hail bully? I'll have that answer and a look at your Carolina Week forecast when we return.
I hang out with a pretty trashy circle. The circle that helps this circle by recycling trash. We sort glass, plastic, separate cans, stack newspapers and magazines. Now, thanks to us, there are lots of products made from things we've already recycled. This cereal box wants your Sunday paper. These paper clips, In a more daring life, a 56 convertible. The circle works like this. It starts when we recycle trash at home and at work. It's completed when we buy products made from or packaged in recycled materials. How do you know the difference? Check the label for something called post-consumer recycled content. It looks like this. Make a mental note. Then buy the highest percentage of it you can find. You'll save a tree, you'll save energy, and in your own way, you'll help save the world. Complete the circle.
Call 1-800-2-RECYCLE for your free shopping guide. Environmental Defense, finding the ways that work.
Hi, and welcome back to Carolina Week. Well, we have an active pattern that is going to be setting up here across the Carolinas as we head into your Easter and weekend Carolina Week forecast. First, we want to talk about our weather headlines, though, and you can see that we are experiencing some warmer temperatures, which is definitely good news. And we even, with these record temperatures that we're seeing and above normal temperatures, we've seen record low temperatures overnight. But we've been warming things up here in our Carolina Week forecast over the last several days. But clouds are going to once again increase as we head towards your Saturday, and that's going to mean that we're going to have some chances for rain come Saturday night and possibly having a wet Easter. But I'll have more details in our forecast. Let's go ahead now and take a look at our satellite map as I put all of this unsettled period that's going to be shaping up into perspective. You can see that right now we're watching several little disturbances across the nation. And you can see in the Midwest, we're looking at an area of low pressure that's going to possibly bring some rain into our area for your Thursday, but this area of low pressure station in the Gulf of Mexico right now is not going to bring us any rain, as it's going to just remain to our south. Our next weather maker that is going to make us have probably a wet weekend here in central parts of North Carolina is actually stationed out in portions of the far west right now, and that's going to be moving into our region, which is going to give us a chance for bouts of rainfall throughout our weekend. So if we go ahead now and look at our surface map, you can see that this is the area of low pressure that is going to bring us a chance for rain on Thursday, and this is the next system that we're going to be watching that is going to swing into our region and just sort of set up shop for the latter half of your weekend and bring us a chance for rain on your Easter Sunday forecast. But as we go ahead now and take a look at your Carolina Week forecast, you can see that all in all, on Friday, we're going to see sunny conditions with a high temperature of about 68 degrees, so it's going to be nice. And Saturday, for the most part, is going to shape up fairly nice as we're going to see those clouds increase late on Saturday afternoon, and the rain is going to move in late Saturday night. And you might want to just carry that light jacket and umbrella with you all day on Sunday, Easter Sunday. Temperatures are going to stay in the mid to upper 60s, but we're going to have bouts of rain on and off. And as I said, we're going to have areas of low pressure just continue to rotate through our region, and that's going to give us a chance for rain for Monday once again with a temperature of about 59 degrees. If you're heading out to the beaches, you're also in for some chances for rain. Scattered showers and thunderstorms will be in your forecast for both Saturday and Sunday, with temperatures on Saturday topping out at about 72 degrees. On Sunday, we're going to go 70 degrees for you if you're heading out to the beaches. If you're heading out to the mountains, you can also expect a chance for some showery precipitation. On Saturday, we'll have a high temperature of about 58 degrees, and on Sunday, we'll have a temperature close to 60 in the mountains. Let's go ahead now and take a look at your beach forecast. If you may be heading out to the beaches for your Easter Sunday plans at Surf City, on Saturday, you can expect to see southeast winds 10 to 15 knots, with seas being around 2 to 4 feet. On both days, air temperatures will be in the low 70s and sea temperatures will be in the 50s. And if you're not going to the beaches and you're just going to be sticking around central parts of North Carolina, there's a timeline. Sunrise Easter Sunday is going to be at 6:47 a.m. and temperatures will start in the 50s, and we should top out at about 67 degrees on 4 p.m. Easter Sunday with a 50% chance for rain. So we're not going to have any chances for hail, and that brings us back to our weather question. So do any of you all have an answer?
I'm going to go with C, tobacco busters.
Tobacco busters. Well, actually, the correct answer is A. The path of destruction caused by a hailstorm is a hail streak. So got that one.
Well, thanks, Scott. Hopefully that hail won't be affecting, we won't be getting any hail soon and won't have it affecting any of our spring sports.
That's right. Carolina Week sports anchor Luke Notestein joins us. What's going on in sports, Luke?
A lot is going on with the weather being as nice as it is. There's been no cancellations. Everybody's been playing, so hopefully you guys have been out there watching, supporting our sports. So we'll see. Coming up in sports, a Carlisle Cup matchup in men's tennis, and we'll have a preview of the weekend's action. And why is former Carolina basketball coach making news? Find out when Carolina Week Sports returns.
Hey, there are a lot of ways we can help our community. Spending our money in Orange County, whether it's filling up the car or shopping at local businesses, helps maintain our roads, improves our children's schools, and creates jobs. Spending your money locally helps us all in a big way. So remember, shop Orange first.
Can you afford to own a home in Orange County?
I'm a homeowner.
I am a homeowner.
I'm a homeowner. We own a home in Orange County, and so can you.
If you thought you couldn't afford to own a home in Orange County, now you can. Contact the Orange Community Housing and Land Trust for more information.
The men's tennis team is off to its best start in a quarter century. The Heels enter Wednesday's matchup with Duke at 20-2 and undefeated in the ACC. Plus, the Duke Blue Devils have beaten Carolina in each of the past 9 years. The Heels look to keep that streak from reaching double digits on Wednesday. In doubles action, Carolina came out on fire. The number 2 doubles team of Andy Messler and Brad Pomeroy did their part in helping the team by winning a hard-fought match 8-6. And after the Heels' number 3 doubles team gave up an early lead, it was up to Nick Monroe and Jeff Boyd to rise to the occasion, and rise they did, as Monroe and Boyd came back from being down 2 games to win the match 9-7 and give the Heels the doubles point. In singles action, however, a different story. Duke wins 4 straight matches to take the win. With the loss in men's tennis, Carolina now trails Duke in the race for the Carlisle Cup by 4 points. Only 4 possible points are out there for the Heels: men's and women's golf, outdoor track, and baseball. Carolina has only a few more chances to take back the Carlisle Cup from Duke. The women's tennis team hosts back-to-back ACC matches this weekend. Friday, the Heels take on the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets at 2:30 in the afternoon. Carolina will get a short night's rest and go heads up with Clemson at 11 Saturday morning. With 2 wins, the Heels would improve to 5-3 in the ACC. The football team this year, not good. The men's basketball team this year, not bad. This year's baseball team, wow. These guys are playing great right now and are winners of 7 of their past 8 contests. The pitching staff has been on a strict diet of Special K, and the Tar Heels have been scoring runs at a record clip. In its past 4 games, Carolina is averaging nearly 10 runs per game, more than enough support for the pitching staff. Head coach Mike Fox and the Heels host Charlotte Wednesday night, but more importantly, they travel to Atlanta this weekend for a road series against Georgia Tech as they look to remain at the top of the ACC. The Carolina softball team looks to keep pace in the win column with their baseball brethren. The Heels face 2 ACC foes this weekend. First up is the NC State Wolfpack Friday at 3. Sunday, Carolina looks to prove that fearing the turtle is just as silly as the Heels take on Maryland at 1. Guess who's back in college basketball coaching news? Former Carolina head coach Matt Doherty has surfaced as a leading candidate for a few vacant head coaching jobs. Doherty was a finalist for the job at James Madison but turned down the position. Word on the street is Doherty wants the vacancy at St. John's University in New York City. Doherty resigned from Carolina in April 2003 after 3 seasons. He went 53-43 during that span. When you think of a round flying disc whirling through the air, you normally think of playing with your dog or relaxing on the beach. Some Chapel Hill students think of Frisbee as part of their identity, and they don't take it lightly.
Let's go. 1, 2, 3.
Not all athletes on campus have the luxury of playing during normal hours of the day in facilities built specifically for them. Some athletes have to play by moonlight.
We're not just a bunch of hippies out here playing barefoot, that, serious athletes and take it very seriously.
The sport is Club Ultimate Frisbee, and these guys are anything but beach bums. This season, the Tar Heel team has posted a 25-3 record, good enough for a national top 10 ranking. Basically, the sport is touch football, with a frisbee instead of a ball, and with traveling violations like in basketball.
We use the word huck, which is like a really long pass, like a Hail Mary kind of. Pull is like a kickoff in football to start play. Poached is when you're not being guarded.
One player who's tough to guard is junior Clay Thomas. He has a specific move that he likes to perform whenever a defender presents a challenge to him.
Skying the trash out of somebody, and I'll explain that to the layman. That means jumping way up in the air and catching the frisbee kind of with your crotch area on that your defender's shoulder.
Games are played to 13 points in most tournaments. The first to 13 with a 2-point margin is the victor. The Heels are looking to maintain their outstanding record and make it to the National Ultimate Frisbee Invitational at the end of the spring. One Tar Heel says the other teams need to be ready for some trash talking.
We like to form a relationship with the other team where we maybe heckle them a little bit and let them know that we are UNC Chapel Hill and we hate them.
The Heels have more than a month to work on their game strategy and trash talking because the Ultimate Players Championship is May 28th through the 30th in Seattle. Well, ladies, Ultimate Frisbee, I really didn't know much about it before that story. Those guys are incredible.
Did you get to try any when you were there?
Yeah, I tried a little bit, and they're very, very good, and hopefully they will do very well in the tournament.
Sounds like fun. Thanks, Luke. Munificent. M-U-N-I-F-I-C-E-N-T.
Now, she can only do that because it's right there on the prompter.
Well, if you could do it without help, you were probably in the bookstore Wednesday seeking spelling glory.
Okay, guys, time for takeoff. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Blast off! Wow! Whoa, look at that! Is that Jupiter?
Hey kids, it's time to go to the planetarium.
Moorhead Planetarium, where dreams become reality.
If you have a story idea, contact Carolina Week at 843-8292. You can also visit us online at carolinaweek.org. If you have questions about this program, write Carolina Week at Campus Box 3365, UNCCH, Chapel Hill, North Carolina, 27599.
It's back to elementary school for one afternoon at least.
Students got on their hands and knees Tuesday for the Carolina Union Activity Board's second Sidewalk Chalk Tournament. Where you could see a florist shop developing on the ground, this work in progress had one student putting her fingers to better use than taking notes in class. Other students worked in pairs to create their chalk masterpieces. Sophomore Alicia Burnett, creator of the Smiling Flower, enjoys the break from her normal schedule. The winner of the Sidewalk Chalk Tournament went home with an extra $25 and dusty fingers. Well, there's nothing like an intensity of a stiff competition.
Avid spellers from Carrboro to Durham matched wits at the Bull's Head 8th Annual Spelling Bee Wednesday. With the good book ensuring a fair contest, the competitors took their seats and listened as the rules were read. Once the first word was spelled correctly, it was easy to tell the competition was going to be fierce. Senior Micah Gross was the first to be eliminated. For Gross, the tense environment increased when he was given a word of foreign origin.
They threw this German word at me. I don't know a lick of German. I would have spelled it with a U, but I knew he wasn't looking in the U section of the dictionary. But I misestimated. He was looking in the E's, and I thought it was in the I's, and that was the only letter I missed.
As the competition continued,
L-T-A-T-I-O-N, auscultation. No, sir, that's not correct, sir.
Each of the contestants was eliminated one by one. The winner of the spelling bee received a copy of the documentary Spellbound. Well, that does it for this edition of Carolina Week.
Thanks for joining us and have a great night.
Good night.